Gwen, thanks for coming
Hi.
back. Let's talk some more.
Yay.
Yeah, good. Last time we posted the video, we got a lot of comments back. We got a lot of people reaching out and making comments. Good, mostly. A few people wondering, how you felt about it. So I thought, let's have her back and let's talk about it after we've talked once. How was the experience for you talking to your dad about divorce?
It was weird and uncomfortable. Especially because I know that me and my siblings were all those kids that don't want to take anything seriously and we just want to joke about everything.
Yeah.
It's really hard to sit us down and have like a serious conversation.
Yeah.
This one was one of those where we were just kind of sitting in the car like, I don't know I don't think I can joke about this one.
That's right. We do joke about a lot.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit. How would you say our dynamic as a family has affected you in your just ability to process things? Like, how do you process hard things, having gone through what we've gone through? What are some of the tools that you use to process emotional things, hard things? I mean, you're a young adult now. You're 21. What are some of the tools you've picked up over the years, having gone through this really hard thing, to help you process and move forward in life?
The biggest thing for me is I like to create art and like just be really creative, and that helps me get out like all the emotions that I'm feeling. So that can be journaling, I like to draw, I like to sew. Mostly what helps is I'd say painting and journaling. um Meditation helps a lot.
Mhm.
I like to go into the sauna and meditate. That helps.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where did you pick up? Let's walk through some of this, because I think one of the things I want to do as we talk about this and follow up is let's focus on tools and tricks and things that we've maybe both done. So let's go through your list a little bit, because being your dad, it's really fun to hear that, because you know all of my kids have very different personalities and they kind of came out that way, and then they've developed and they've kind of ebbed and flowed a little bit. But you particularly have always been very artistic from a very, very young age. I mean, I can remember finding a screenplay that you'd written at, how old were you? 12?
12.
12. I didn't even know what a screenplay was. It was like a piece of paper and I'm looking at it and I'm going, what is this? And it's like, scene, girl walks into room. And I was like, who writes like this? What is this? And then I asked you about it. You're like, oh, it's a screenplay.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
I think part of it comes from, it definitely comes from my grandma,
Yeah.
my mom's mom.
Yeah, for sure.
She
For sure.
she's like she always made us these books growing up where we'd go over to her house and she'd like draw us a page of the book and write us a little poem.
Yeah.
And so I like to draw and write my own little poems.
Yeah.
And then from there, like I learned all the stuff that you could do.
Yeah.
And I liked to paint and I liked to she would make us like she'd make my Barbies little clothes
Yeah.
and I like to do that too.
Yeah.
So I definitely got most of it, I'd say, from her.
Yeah, that's true. From my perspective, I saw you as this kid that, like I said, 12 is also when I found that that's also about the year we got divorced. And I did see this change in you that was very artistic and very like free and doing photo shoots and making commercials with your friends. And then you did seem to withdraw a little bit. Maybe walk through the process of where you were and what that was like, and then how you rediscovered some of those artistic outlets.
I think one of the reasons that it kind of fell back, that's maybe like the simplest reason, is just that I was hauling my art supplies from house to house. And you end up with like a backpack and two giant bags, and sometimes it's nice to just
Yeah.
leave two of the bags.
Right.
And so that's just a dumb, simple answer. That's why I didn't bring my oil paints everywhere and all my colored pencils and all my markers. And it was just kind of easier to just leave it all at mom's house or leave it all at dad's house. Um, I also got really like isolated onto my phone, and that takes away a lot of creative stuff because it's like I'm seeing everybody else doing the creative work, and then my brain kind of thinks like, oh, that's the same thing.
Yeah.
And so it was easier to just kind of like withdraw and kind of text my friends all day and go on social media and then not think about creating anything.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think that of the things that I'm most proud of you for as a dad, seeing you recognize and having conversations with you about consuming media, specifically social media, and how it was robbing you of some of your own creativity that culminated in you getting a flip phone,
It's true.
which is pretty fun.
Got
So,
the model right here.
yep, there it is. So, talk to me about that. When did you recognize that? Talk to me about the flip phone. Why did you decide to go to a flip phone, and how did it improve your life?
The flip phone is because it's like a novelty. It's like I can hang up the phone on people like this. I had that little like Japanese cute one. It was just because it was interesting enough that I wouldn't feel like I was getting like an old person phone and then feel bad about it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was like cute, so I could like keep it in pictures and stuff.
Okay.
But then when it came down to it, it didn't have anything on it that I could go on social media with. Because that was really tough. Because you guys got divorced around 2017,
Mhm.
and then right when I was picking it back up was around COVID,
Mhm.
and that really, like, pushed social media onto people because you couldn't see anybody in person, and that was really tough because it was, like, everything was on social media. All your friends, they would send each other funny videos, that's where you had fun,
Yeah.
and so it was like you do online school. The whole time you're on online school, you're on your phone,
Yep.
not paying
Yep.
attention
Right.
because they can't make you.
Yeah.
And then when you're off of online school, you're still on your phone.
Mhm. This is an interesting one of the questions that I got about our first little conversation was, what was the hardest thing for you as a result of the divorce? And one of the things that came to my mind, one of the hardest things about divorce is actually not about divorce. It's that you're dealing with kids that are teenagers going through the hell of junior high and high school. And then on top of that, oh yeah, mom and dad are divorced.
Yeah.
Maybe talk about that because 2017, about when we got divorced and then you move forward a little bit to the COVID years. Talk
Yeah.
about that. Talk about what was the hardest thing that you experienced during divorce. Maybe not
Yeah.
because of divorce, but what was the hardest thing that you went through during those years?
Well, when you guys got divorced, I was in 8th or ninth grade around that age. So I was moving from middle school over to high school.
Mhm.
And my parents are getting divorced and I'm moving into high school, so it's already tough. And they both live far away from the high school now, but I want to stay with my friends.
Yeah.
And so it was really tough because it was already working on things like trying to keep friends and make new friends and connect with people and get my classes all together and do my homework and just all the normal stuff that a kid goes through that can be really, really tough. And then on top of that, I have to figure out like, oh, why are mom and dad fighting now? And I'm getting dragged in the middle of it.
Yeah.
But I got to take my little brothers to school. It was just like too much to deal with
So would you say that you were depressed some of those years?
for sure.
Yeah. Talk to me about that. What did that feel like? And then how did you start to come out of it?
Nothing. Like it just felt like nothing really was that big of a deal and just nothing was fun and nothing was, and it just everything was right in this middle section. And it was hard to like go out and have fun with friends. It was just like all I wanted to do was just sit in my room and be on my phone
Mm,
or sit in my room and like play video games.
yeah.
Just check out. I didn't want to have to deal with any of it because it was just so much to deal with, like the new family dynamic plus the new friends dynamic.
Yeah.
It was like I'd rather just not deal with any of it and just sit in my room alone.
When did you notice yourself starting to come out of it?
I think senior year. At that point, I had lost a lot of my friends because I was just kind of checking out and I was having trouble with just like the whole social part of school. And I just kind of had a moment where I just like sat up and I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to have friends. So I just did my best to reach out to people that I used to hang out with, make new friends, sit by people, and just be, because my biggest thing was I didn't want to be annoying.
Mhm.
So I just decided I'll just be annoying and I'll just go hang out with people. And that was just, it took a lot of effort to get myself to a place where I felt like I could talk to people, just be like, hey, do you want to come to my house and hang out? I know that we don't know each other, but do you want to go to the store and we can hang out? And that's really hard, especially senior year of high school, because everybody's super locked in on a friend group. And so a new person coming up, it didn't always work out. And a lot of the time it got met with like weird looks.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad that I did it because it was just a lot of conscious effort to like connect with people.
Yeah. Yeah. How much of that improvement on that side of your life correlated with the improvement that you saw from, let's just say, me and your mom putting an effort to have less conflict? Do you see a correlation between us getting along better and your life getting easier for you to focus on the kid stuff?
Yes,
Talk to me about that.
100%. Because a lot of what made me withdraw in the first place was just the dogpiling of all the issues. So once you and my mom got along a lot better, it was, at that point I had my own car and it was a lot easier to be like, hey, I know it's not your week. Can I bring my friends over to your house? And then it's not going to cause a fight between mom and
Yeah.
dad because no, she has to be over here and I'm going to call the cops on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I could just kind of have that freedom to do whatever I wanted because you guys trusted me and you guys communicated with each
Yeah.
other. It was nice. And I started to have just normal
Yeah.
responsibilities where it was like, you know what? Yeah, but you need to pick up your brother from football at 6 o'clock. And it's like, okay, I can do that.
Yeah. Interesting. So from my point of view, one of the things that I'd be interested in your take on. Shortly after the divorce, like you said, you were in junior high
Yeah.
and you were really into theater. Like I said, this artistic um, outlet that you had. You were in junior high and you were in theater and you were very, very good, very, very talented. Do you remember the two plays that you did that you got awards for? That you did the
Yeah.
monologue?
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Back in middle
Mhm.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was before you guys got divorced. I decided I didn't wanna do band anymore. I had
Mhm.
done, like, 1 semester in band, and I was like, "I don't wanna do it," and I went to the office, and I was like, "What can I switch to?" And they were like, "You can switch to calculus in 7th grade, or you can switch to drama 1." And I was
Mhm.
like, "Fine, I'll do drama 1."
Mhm.
And so I switched into it, and I hated it
Mhm.
so much, and then they had us do this project at the very end of the year where we did, like, a commercial, like, voiceover, and you mentioned earlier, I used to do those with my
Yeah,
friends
you did.
all the time. Like, we would make up fake little products and do a little voiceover, and I loved that, and so I did it again the next year, and then I did it again the next year, and this was the year that you guys were getting divorced.
Mhm.
They were at this point, I was ninth grade, last year of middle school,
Mhm.
and they were doing the Shakespeare Festival, and then they were doing a Shakespeare play,
Yep.
and I had never touched any of it in my whole life, but the teacher was really, really good, and he, um, introduced us to it, and we all auditioned for the little, like, scene that we did that we were gonna compete with, and he put me as, like, the main character, and it was really funny because it was about, like, depression.
Yep.
I think he could kinda
Yeah.
tell what was going on in my
Because
life.
you could tell that was when Gwen and her artistic ability, like, just love started to it was almost in one hand, it was peaking because you were in
Mhm.
drama and you were doing all this, but at the same time, you could feel that numbness that you talked about. Like, you could see it as
Yeah.
your dad, as your mom said the same thing. You could kinda see it. And that's when it kind of crested,
Yeah.
right? And after you guys won the award and you got all
Yeah.
this praise, what happened?
I went on later that year to be in another play, and
Mhm.
it was really, really good, and I
Yeah,
felt super great about it, and so I tried out for the high school class,
yeah,
and I didn't make it.
yeah.
'Cause I was going from a really big middle school
Mhm.
that I had done really good at, and I was like, "Well, I'm good at this school, so I'll be good at
Yeah,
the next one." It's a 6A high school, like, there's a million students, and
yeah,
so I didn't even make it into the class at all. They had 2 classes, I didn't make it into either, and so at that point, I was like, all my friends made it in, I
yeah,
didn't. Then they don't wanna eat lunch with me because 'cause I'm not in the class with them, and they're with all their new friends, and it just kinda like I was so bummed I didn't even try out the next
yeah.
year.
Yeah, and I remember that, and I can remember that correlating very closely with probably my big eye opener that kids hate conflict and that I needed to do way better. I need to really like rebuild myself into somebody that could be there for my kids that were going through these hard regular life things. And I think
Mhm.
that's really the thing that I recognize the most now is the hardest part of divorce is life is still happening.
Yeah.
Like, regular life is still happening, and for parents, like, everything stops and the world kinda stops and it all kinda closes in, and then once you get through some of the grief and the heartache, you open your eyes and you realize that the whole time life has still been going on and carrying on,
Yeah.
and maybe your kids are not doing as well as you think they are, and
Yeah.
that was when I started going, I need to really focus on kids hate conflict and start to repair this relationship. Didn't matter whose fault it was about creating a better space and environment, which we talked about the last time we talked. Um, so when you talk about your senior year and things getting better and how, you know, us doing a better job of creating an environment where you could thrive, what else happened your senior year as far as drama and
I joined the
theater?
plays again.
You got back in the place.
I didn't get into the class again. I
Yep.
tried out that year and
Yep.
I didn't get in again, which
But you didn't have the same level of depression for it.
no.
What did you do?
I just started being really annoying, like I was always afraid of being,
Yeah.
and I would go up and I'd be like, "Do you need help with the play? Okay, I know I'm not in the class. Can I help though?
Yeah.
Do you have anything open?" And then finally, they opened up auditions for the Shakespeare Festival
Mhm.
again, and I auditioned, and I went to the Shakespeare Festival,
That's right.
and I didn't have to be in the class for
Yeah.
that, and so I went with all the people that were in the class, and we all had fun, and then they did a play later that year, which they hadn't done in previous years, I don't think. Just like a spring play, and I auditioned for that, and I
Mhm.
made it into that,
Yeah.
and I got to hang out with all these people
Yep.
again, but I did that annoying thing where I was like, "I know I didn't make it in the class, but do you need help?
Yep.
Can I be in the class now? No? Okay."
Yeah, and for me, that's really when I saw you turn the corner and start to have that artistic outlet again,
Mhm.
which seemed like the catalyst for a lot of the healing and growth that you needed. It was like we had taken away this thing that was really important to you, not intentionally, right? But all of a sudden, when that artistic outlet was back, you started to see all the things like when you were 3 and we take you to the playground, you'd go over to other people and be like, "Hi, my name's Gwen. Let's be friends."
Yeah.
That girl was back. You know, it's 17. And she's like, "Do you need help with the play? I'll be in the play. Let's be in the play." And then you're in the play and you're so good at Shakespeare. And it was like you had this outlet back. And then that led to other artistic outlets. Like you made your own prom dress,
Yeah,
right?
I did.
Who taught you how to sew?
Nobody.
Right. You're just like, I'm just going to do this. Those are your strengths. And I feel like they correlated very closely with one, you getting off of your phone,
Mhm.
right? Us getting along better and you just kind of rediscovering who you are and what you loved. So if you were talking to a kid going through divorce right now, a 15, 16, 17-year-old kid, or even older, what advice would you give them to discover their outlet and their source of rebirth?
Some of the advice would be to speak up.
Mhm.
Sometimes your parents are gonna be way too involved in their own, like, drama to realize like, "Hey, the registration for this class I wanna do is ending." You gotta speak up and be like, "Mom, can you sign me up for I really wanna try out, like" even if it's like, "I wanna try out martial arts.
Mhm.
Can you sign me up for that?"
Yeah.
Like, you just gotta speak up and because sometimes your parents are gonna be so focused on their own thing, they're not gonna catch any subtle hints.
Yeah.
So you really do just have to be like, "Hey, it costs this much.
Mm.
I wanna do it. Can we do it?"
Yeah. And that's
And
not fair to you as a kid. That shouldn't
no,
be
it's
your
not.
job, but it is the reality of the situation sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do wish that you and mom had, like, really sat down with me and been like, "Hey, you didn't make it into class this year. Do you wanna do one outside of
Yep.
school?" But that never
Yep.
happened. So
That's
I
right.
think
And that's a failure on my part for sure, and one that, I think about a lot, like how I could have shown up better. And the reality of it is there is so much grief and loss and hurt that goes with divorce that expecting people to behave perfectly and to do all the right things is just not the reality. And it's why, again, I think the focus is on repair. How can we fix it? How can we do it better moving forward?
yeah,
And again, apologizing, acknowledging that I didn't show up the way I should have. And it's hard to admit that because you want to put yourself out there as like the example and perfect. And the reality is, as I've gotten older, the power is in acknowledging your flaws and admitting them and asking for forgiveness and then saying, how can we improve this? How can we repair this? And I think we've done a good job at that. I
yeah.
think I think all of us have done a pretty good job at that. And I'm proud of that. Maybe let's talk about you mentioned some other outlets, some other tools that you use. How did you find meditation? How did you find sauna? What are some of the other tools that you found useful and how did you discover them?
I discovered the gym and meditation and the sauna all from you because that was what you used to get through it,
Those were
and you
mine.
would share it with us,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that was really
And
nice.
and a lot of it has to do with that 30-minute drive,
Yeah.
right? That 30-minute drive to school, you guys would be forced to listen to what I was listening to. And I had learned that meditation was a really, really great tool for me, one that I wish I'd discovered when I was 20. Meditation was great. Meditation started with mindfulness practices and then moved into different types of, mantra-based meditation, which I really like, and some other things. And you guys got forced and drug along with my process, right? How did that feel at the time? Did it feel useful at the time? Or when you started to go through hard things later, did it just pop up as, well, maybe I'll try this? How did it incorporate into your own practice?
It was annoying because we were driving to school and all I wanted to do was listen to music,
Yep.
and instead I was listening to podcasts about, like, the helpfulness of
Mhm.
this and this and this, and it
Yeah.
was like and I would put in my headphones, and then you'd
Yeah.
be like, "Nope, take your
Yeah,
headphones
that's
out."
right.
And so I was just sitting there mad the whole time, and it
Yeah.
was just playing, and I wasn't listening. But then it would get to the point, I got broken up with,
Mhm.
and it was like,
Yep.
yeah, I should
Okay.
probably listen to
Uh,
what he said."
that's good. Uh, talk about, the gym and sauna a little more. We touched on it last time.
Yeah,
Talk to me about how that's become integral in your daily behavior now and how it helps. And maybe even go on to would you encourage other people, especially young women, to chase after a gym habit? It's a little uncomfortable. Walk through all the steps of how you got there, how it's helped, and what advice you would give to people as far as getting a, health and fitness routine
yeah.
into their life.
You and mom always went to the gym,
Mhm.
all growing up,
Yep.
so it was just super normal in the household to go to the gym, but
Yep.
I never really did until I started working a summer camp job at the gym,
Yep.
and then it was like, "Oh, I just got done with my shift. I watched dad walk in, he's upstairs,
Uh-huh.
so I would just go up there and hang out with you,"
Yep.
and I wouldn't even really do a lot of stuff
Right.
because it was like it was embarrassing because I couldn't lift anything, and it was like I had to go get the 5-pound weights and hold it with
Yeah.
both my hands because it
Uh-huh.
was, like, too hard. But as I just started to do it a lot more, like, it didn't nec I couldn't really lift anymore, it was just like a routine,
Mhm.
and it was nice, and it was outside of the house, and you got some sunlight and some fresh air, and you just got moving, and it just cleared my mind, it made me feel a lot better,
Yeah.
and just the regularity of it gave me structure that I needed.
Yeah. 100% agree. I know for me that was the same. I did always work out when you were growing up, but after I got divorced those first couple of years, I really just stopped. I didn't have the motivation. I didn't want to. I didn't want to go out.
It's hard.
It was hard. And when I started to rediscover, my strength and what I wanted to build, the very first thing that I needed to do was clear my head. It was you just beat yourself up about the failures and all the things you could have done different. You just beat yourself up. And then I found that when I started going back to the gym, I could just clear my head.
And
Right.
it sounds, like, so tranquil,
Yeah.
but it's because 'cause you're doing something that's so
It's so
hard,
hard.
you can't think about anything but how hard this
Yep.
is.
Like I got to do this.
And, like, it sounds so terrible, but it makes you feel so much better
It
because
does.
it's like the pain of, like, lifting like,
Mhm.
bicep curls at
Yeah.
the time for me was so
Yeah.
hard that it was like I couldn't think about, like, how I can't get a text back from the guy that I like, and it was like, "Wow, what a
Yeah.
good 1 hour that I've had."
Yeah, it was good. It was really good, and that was the first step, and then I started to listen to things about other health and wellness things like sauna, like the benefit of sauna.
Yeah,
Then I go to the sauna, and it's the same thing.
it's the
It's
same
so
thing.
hard.
All you
Hate
can
it.
think about is how your nose
Yep.
burns and, like, everything's awful and you're gonna die, and in 5 minutes, you're gonna be
Mhm.
dead in this room.
Yeah.
And then you leave, and it's, like, the best feeling in the whole
It's the
world.
best, and you just are clear, and you just
Yeah,
hit the ground, and you just go about your day, and you just feel more capable.
yeah,
It's like you just felt a little bit stronger. And I started to notice that, and I was really happy because I don't think I really pressured you guys to come to the gym with me.
never.
You guys
Well, I
just
didn't even do it till I was, like, 18
yeah.
years old because I just you had, like, brought me a couple times, and every once in a while, you'd be like, "Gwen, do you wanna come to the gym?" And I'd be like, "No.
Nope.
No,
Yep.
why would I do that?"
Yep. And then you guys just started coming. It was really fun to see as a dad because it was like I like I said, I noticed very first thing I noticed is your return to theater. That was really big. And that was when I started seeing it. And then you did academic decathlon.
Oh
And you
my
had
gosh.
these things that you were doing and you were really talented at and you were like focused on that. And you were really
Yeah.
coming back into like your strength. It was like you even stood up a little bit taller. We don't have the best posture as far as
Academic
things.
decathlon was the thing that brought me back to having friends
It
because they
was.
put posters up in the hallway that were like, do the thing that Spider-Man does in the movies."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Okay, fine.
Fine, I'll do it.
I guess I'll just join a club and
Yeah,
then
that's right.
I'll have friends built in."
Yeah. And that is true. And I think that's another thing that people could
Yeah.
really pay attention to, which is get your kids in clubs and activities and get them
Yeah.
around other people because it is difficult, right? And with the younger boys, that's been something you go, oh, well, this works, so let's make sure they're in a club or on a team or
Mhm.
in track or something. And it's a struggle. It's not easy, but it
No.
does help you get to that flex that muscle of having friends. Because even as a grown up, as I've matured and grown up and tried to like become a better man, one of the things that I realized pretty early was I need friends. I need male friends. I need guys to go hang out with. And it's hard to make friends when you're a grown up, especially if you didn't really do a great job when you were a kid, which I didn't do a great job. I had friends, but I've really been proud of seeing you and your brother and your little brothers just go and make friends. Like it's not easy to do, and it's such a cheat code to have friends, right? Especially if you have good friends, and that's really the hard part is making sure you have good friends.
And the best way to do it is to join the weirdest club in your high school because
It
it's
worked.
not gonna sound fun. Because academic decathlon is 2 really long words, and it's not gonna sound fun, but when you join it, you're gonna find out that, like, everybody's great,
Mhm.
and
And there's something about
they want you to
achieving.
join so bad
Yeah, they do.
that they're gonna be your
That's
friend.
right. That's right. And then when you achieve stuff,
Yeah.
you come home with medals.
I
Y-
have a
Yeah,
million medals,
and it was
and
like
was
you
I even really the
blindsided.
best? There's not that many kids doing it, so
Well,
you get so many medals.
it was awesome. It was such a big part of your growth and your transition into adulthood was learning those things and seeing it. So the first thing I saw was theater. The second thing I saw that I was so proud of was the flip phone. When I was like, you were like, I'm gonna get a flip phone. And you didn't really ask, you just got one.
I went on eBay and
Yeah.
I looked
It
up,
was
like
like, okay, like here we go.
yeah.
And then I saw that change. And then I saw you get back into sewing. It was like you started to get back into these things that I had seen when you were, 12, 13 at the beginning of the divorce. And then you slowly started to get back into them. And now at 21, it's such a core part of your life. I mean, we sat down last night and you laid out your patterns on the ground while you built, you know, the next thing you're gonna wear to the gym. Like
Yeah,
literally built your little gym outfit, right? Just like you built your prom dress. And
yeah.
when I see that as a dad, it makes you so happy to see your kids doing things that they love. And your job right now actually is the same. I mean, what do you do for work now?
I work under a tailor.
Hmm.
She makes Post Malone's pants, and I
That's
work
right.
for her.
That's right.
I don't get to meet him, and I don't get to touch his
That's right.
pants,
No.
but
But
but I get to make, like, costumes for drill teams, and I go on little, like, commercials, and I help her with stuff like that.
yeah,
And starting out with that, it was like, "Are you sure you want me to help? I don't really know how to sew very well." And she was like,
yeah.
"Perfect."
But you've leaned into the thing that you've always been good at, which is you'll bug
Yeah,
people until they let you get involved, and then you learn and you learn and you learn, and you just get better and better. And as a dad, that's just what you want to see with your kids. And I've been really lucky with all my kids to see them develop their talents that way. And so when we talk about divorce, one of the things that I think that it does create is it's a hard environment. It's hard to go through divorce, right? But if attacked properly, hard things can grow into really great things. What would you say is lesson, the best thing that you've learned coming out of divorce in the sense that it's not the end of the world? What's the positive hope you can give to people going through something really hard that you look back at and maybe the advice you would give to yourself?
it was so hard on me, and I think if I could just grab 12-year-old me by the shoulders and just go, "It's just listen to sad music and go cry under your bed," and then
Turn on the My Chemical Romance.
yes.
Yeah.
And go buy a studded belt and wear eyeliner, and it's fine. And go be really sad about it for as long as you want, and then one day you'll try to be sad about it again, and you'll be like, "Oh, well, it's fine."
Yeah, exactly. I definitely did see that. I definitely saw you go through that. I look back and I did always worry about, there were those years when I really worried about how depressed you did seem and how kind of checked out you did seem. And I didn't know what to do. And it did seem as we started to do the things, we started to have the drives, we started to talk about, meditation and other tools. And then, we started to focus on things like making sure we had that clean space for us to be in and that, we made sure that we went bowling on our transition days and we started to do all those things. It just seemed like it steadily built, not overnight, but it just steadily built into what we have now, which I think, we'd all agree is pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a
We
pretty good
we
life.
did all this stuff, and eventually it just got harder and harder to be, like, really sad
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Like, I'd think about it and I'd be like, "My parents are divorced, but we go bowling all the time,
Yeah.
and it's like, I don't even know what I'm sad about anymore."
Yeah, and you work through it, but it does take effort and
Yeah.
you do have to be intentional about what you're trying to build. And I've seen that, like I said, you made those intentional decisions to get off of social media, right? And those are just kid problems. Those aren't divorce problems.
No.
Those are like regular kid problems. And the divorce maybe pushed you low enough to where you had to go and make some decisions. Maybe to wrap up what we're trying to do here is if you were going to talk to somebody that was there's maybe let's talk about the three different stages of where we've kind of been through. We've been through the early stages of divorce where it was really hard and that you weren't getting the best version of your mom or your dad, mostly your dad. Um, and then you move into, 3 or 4 years under your belt, you're now 15, 16. You're going through the hard high school years. What advice would you give to that person? And then now, what advice would you give to people that are in your shoes now that maybe grew up with divorced parents and maybe they're not getting along very well? What's the advice you would give to 12-year-old, 16-year-old, and 20-year-old Gwen?
I'd say 12-year-old Gwen, I would just say, like, the same thing, just be really sad about it. It's okay. Everybody's sad about it. You can be as sad as you want, and it's just gonna make you feel better in the end. Um, and just to hold on, and it's alright.
Yeah.
You kinda just
Which
have
is
to
so annoying.
survive the 12-year-old
Yeah, you just have to
stage.
survive, and I would say the same thing to divorced parents when they first go through it. You just kinda have to survive. It's one of the things that's really hard. It In the early days of divorce as a parent, I had it described to me as like you're in the ocean, and a great big wave comes and just knocks you off your feet, and you're flipped upside down, and you're like, you don't know where you're at, and then finally you find the ground and you stand up. You're like, "Oh, that was really hard," and then the next wave comes and does it again, and you do
Yeah,
that for like 2 years,
yeah,
where it's just like this constant emotional battle, and what people told me was, "It's gonna be okay," and I was like, "I hate you.
yeah.
This is really hard. You have no idea if this is gonna be okay." But in retrospect, that's right, and that's true. Like, you're gonna survive, you're gonna do it. Try and get your feet, sturdy on the ground and recognize the next wave's probably coming. But ultimately, what you do is you just get stronger and you either get out of the water, get up
You
on the
get really
beach,
good at surfing.
or that's right, or you learn to surf, or you go a little deeper and you swim.
Yeah.
Like, you just learn to deal with the emotional stuff a little bit better. But yeah, those first couple of years are just hard. And
They
people say it'll get better. And you know what? It does. But when it happens,
You don't wanna hear that
you don't want to hear that. So I
'cause
get that.
it just sucks.
So then what's the next step?
The My advice for 16-year-old me would be to that not everybody is so focused on you. You kinda think that everything is, like, on your shoulders, like, you need to do all this stuff, you need to figure out how to get good grades and hang out with your friends and go, you know, make this painting after school and make everybody like you, and you just can't make other people see you the way that you want to. So I'd say just stop focusing on how much other people are focused on you and just kinda learn how to love yourself and just be, like, okay with, like, I failed that class, okay. That doesn't make me a failure, that just means I'm having a hard time.
Yeah.
And I'd say to ask for help too,
Mhm.
because people
Ask for help.
love to help other people,
Yeah.
and everybody cares.
Yeah.
Even if they don't seem like it, everybody cares. If you go up to anybody, even the meanest girl at your school, and you say like, "Hey, I am having a really hard time, and I think your makeup looks beautiful. Will you show me how you do it?" Odds are she probably will.
Odds are, and
People love to
that's
help.
a life lesson that I would say that also mirrors parents going through this. Once you've gotten through it for 2, 3 years, or you're getting to the end of it, ask for help. Talk to people. You don't need to talk to everybody, but have a group of people you can go to and be like, "Man, I'm having a hard day. This sucks." And they'll go, "Let's go hang out." Even as a grown-up, like, that's
Yeah,
still it probably mirrors really closely with, like, the next phase, which is ask for help. And for me, that was self-help, therapy, meditation, friends, the gym. That was my get help phase. Ask for help. What helps? What works? Look for the
for me, it
resources.
was teachers. Teachers always
Yeah,
care. The school counselors,
yeah,
you can always like your parents always care.
mhm,
Sometimes kids your age are harder to talk to, but they care
they do
too,
care.
even if they're jerks because 'cause they're 16.
Yeah, and that's just a life lesson that as you get older, you realize that people do wanna help, and you can always ask people for help. And, I had as we've done this, I've had other attorneys that you would say are competing attorneys reach out and go, "Hey, we really enjoyed the content." Um, People wanna help each other. Like, it's not as hard up and competitive as you would think in life. We all kind of want the same things, and if you approach it in a way that, like, "Hey, there's enough for all of us," we just wanna help each other.
Yeah,
They say, "Rising tides rise all ships." That's what it is. Ask for help. People will help. You have no idea what they're going through either, and sometimes helping other people gives you a sense of accomplishment, and you might be helping them out as well. So, this is great. What's the advice you'd give to somebody now in your what's next for you? What are your focuses to move forward? into the next phase of life. And I'm going to ask it to you in this way. How do you feel about marriage today? Having seen what we went through, what we kind of put you through, moving into the next phase of your life, how do you feel about relationships and marriage, and how has the divorce shaped that?
I like marriage a lot more than I liked it when I was 16.
Yeah.
When I was 16, I was like, "I'm never getting married. This is the worst thing in the world. I'm never having kids." Now I think that the way that it's shaped me is just in my relationships. I don't You just have to look at it a little more outside of like, "But I love this person." It has to be like, "Yeah, but your parents loved each other too. So what problems do you guys have?" And you just have to look at them like kinda heartlessly and a little just objectively.
Hmm.
And to be like, "You know what? I really love this person. I don't think it's gonna work out."
Yeah.
That kind of a thing. And you just that's the thing that I think I've learned the most is that it's not as serious and you'll always heal from heartbreak.
Yeah.
That it always does get better because 'cause I've been through it. So, it's just being a lot more careful with who you pick
Yeah. And I
in
think that's great
those
advice.
relationships.
It's been said a lot, which is they say love is not enough.
Yeah.
And I think that's true because there are so many other things to a successful relationship that I think a failed relationship illuminates. So, so you did see a failed relationship where two people did love each other. We still love each other, but it didn't work.
Yeah,
Right.
I think a lot of people stay together for the kids, and I think that it can be, like, a really nice thing, but it's probably gonna show your kids a bad picture of what their future relationships are gonna be like. I'm honestly glad that you and mom did get divorced because the way that you guys were when you were together was not super great for anybody involved.
Yeah.
And seeing now how it all fell apart and seeing now, like, the relationships you guys have had after, like, it's given me a much better view on, like, what life is really like and how to be with other people. And I think that, I do feel a lot better about marriage than I did when I was younger because it really is just, like, I'd rather be single when I'm 80 and never meet somebody that and I'm okay with that. Because if I meet somebody perfect and we get married, that'll be great. And if I'm single till I'm 80, I'm okay with that because I love who I am
Yeah.
and I can deal with just doing my own thing.
Yeah.
So I'd say another thing for my advice for me at 20, which is me now, is just to be busy.
Yeah.
Figure out what you like in life outside of like relationships.
Yeah. I think that's great. My advice to you as your dad at 21 is you have your 20s to discover everything about who you are and who you want to be. There's no rush, right? Go stay busy, stay engaged, stay active, go chase your dreams, go move and do the hard thing and do the weird thing and do all that. And that's what your 20s really can be. And as you look for relationships, you know, you just first have to love yourself, which you do and you've done a great job at. And that person that you find is somebody that's going to add to what you are and you guys can become something together. And that something can be really great. And as long as you put effort into it, I agree with you that staying together for the kids is not the right answer. Now, staying together for the kids and working on yourselves and working on your relationship to make the marriage work and stay together, I'm a big fan of.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, stay together for the kids. But what that means is put the work in on you. And then if you have a partner that's willing to put the work in on themselves, and then you guys come together and put work in together at the same time, then yeah, you can fix failing relationships for sure. It's
Anything
doable.
can be fixed.
But the focus is on you and what you can build of yourself. And that's probably one of my biggest failures at the time is I think that I was younger and immature and I looked at things as, what did they do? And I think that was where the real maturity had to come, which is I can only control me. What did I do? How can I improve that moving forward? And that's my advice to you, which is continue to do what you're doing. Focus on you, focus on what is ahead and what you want, and what you love and what you're passionate about and what you're good at. And everything else will come together as you focus on that. And so far, that's what I've seen. And I'm just super proud to be your dad. So thanks for coming and talking again.
Thanks
Anything
for
else you
having
want?
me on the
Anything you want
podcast.
to leave? Anything you want to leave me with?
Um, I think this is a cool podcast, and I'm glad that I get to talk about having you as my dad.
I think we'll do more, but we'll probably do this once in a while, and maybe we'll get some questions if people want to submit some questions they have for you or for me.
I would love to answer questions.
I think we'll probably do this a little bit more, and we'll answer some questions and see what people think. And it's just been really great and fun to talk to you. So thanks, Gwen.
Yeah.